A warm welcome to everyone listening to this amazing model talk. My name is Juliane. I've been in the industry for nearly 30 years now. I've traveled the entire world as an international model. I'm now here to share all my knowledge and my network. And today I'm here to introduce an amazing woman. She's not only a model herself, a content creator, owns her own production company. She's also soon going to be one of our coaches. Please introduce yourself.
Hi, lovely to be here. I'm so thankful to be your guest. So I'm Tiffany Winteler. I've been in the industry for nearly 15 years, in front of the camera, behind the camera. One of my companies is a photo film production company called Winteler Production. And there we also do one of our things is, of course, editorials, which is what we're here to talk about today. And then other than that, I have a networking company and a location agency.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yes, it keeps me busy.
Yes.
I don't get bored.
Absolutely. And I am very proud to have you on our board of the Modelinstitute now. And you already mentioned the word editorial. I, of course, know what it means, but I think there are a lot of people out there who have an idea but don't actually know what it means in the real world. And we are here to educate. So let's start from scratch.
Okay, so I think there are a few words that probably need to be explained. Like one often hears a test shoot, and a test shoot can also be an editorial, but there is different distinctions. So a test shoot would be a model or a photographer, a creative team come together and they want to do something for their portfolios. There's not a brand behind it. There's not a magazine that's commissioned it. It's just them doing something for their portfolio. It can be that they do a whole concept that then is submitted as an editorial, but it could also just be someone's seen they have several missing things in their portfolio that they need to cover, so they do distinctive shots to fill those gaps. That would be a test shoot. And then an editorial, I would divide between a commissioned editorial, which is where a magazine says, we need this editorial done for us. And then mostly that's also in a paid environment. And then there's a test shoot where creatives say, I know that editorials are worthful for my, really useful for my book. And so they plan a shoot that they then plan to submit to magazines.
So if a model has actually gotten a call, like received a call from the agency saying like, listen, you get booked for an editorial in an amazing magazine, or small, big, whatever. That's a big thing for a model. That's the classic version of congrats.
Definitely,
You've
yes.
definitely achieved something in the industry.
For sure.
Because models need publications, and the best publication you can have is a big, commercial campaign or an editorial, which is published. So now you're saying it's possible to do it the other way around.
Yes. So in the sense that you as a team decide you want to do an editorial, but you don't actually have a magazine that's already said yes to you, but instead you produce a beautiful story and then you send it into magazines as a submission for them to take it.
Okay, will they pay for it?
So generally, there's different ways. Like a team can approach magazines and say they want a pull letter and they want to produce something and what the cost would be. Seeing as that does sadly nowadays happen. And then there's also the way that a lot of these magazines, they live off being able to choose editorials that get sent to them. And so that the magazine doesn't charge for. They take your work, they give you the platform to show yourself, but sadly you're not paid. And that's the sad thing about our industry. It's going into that direction.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. So why would models actually need such an editorial? Why are they valuable?
I think editorials are extremely valuable for not just models, but the entire creative team, because when you have a test shoot or a free shoot there, you're able to show what you can do creatively. You don't have a client in your back saying that skirt needs to look exactly like that, or or they put a different focus, of course, from a client perspective. And this way you have a chance to show what you can do, for models, what is you can show off, how your posing is, and just in the sense, not only show it off with pictures that haven't been published, but also put a kind of logo on it and say, okay, this was in the Vogue, like it's got that stamp of quality. And so I think it just, when you're then thinking about the whole point of doing editorials is also to get well-paid jobs afterwards, is to show a client, look, I've been in a Vogue, I've been in Harper's Bazaar, or I've been in Elle, and I've also created beautiful images.
So the payoff comes afterwards.
It's definitely, I would say editorial is always an invest. Like when I was modeling full time, I have to say editorials for me, although they are the least paid, were always the most fun because you have the most freedom, and it's about the love of doing that job, or why we are creatives, because you actually get to do something fun. It's like coming together and doing like this little assignment together and coming out with this beautiful result that then hopefully gets published in a good magazine.
That's true. One of the reasons I chose to be a model was not to be in the spotlight and just being the center of attention. It was more because I really enjoyed meeting all those incredible creative people.
Yeah,
Meeting them, understanding their ideas, how they express it, and that they chose me to actually present it out there, whatever they had in mind for years.
definitely.
Or maybe even what I contributed as well.
Yeah.
This is it.
No, I think like test shoots, a lot of people say like, oh, I would never do a test shoot, where I'm like, well, for me, I have a completely different opinion. I think test shoots at a valuable stage where the team is at a good level, they are so helpful. I would never say I will only do things that are paid, because because then you're always just working for a client, which is necessary, but you don't actually get to show off what you can do.
That's very true. Also, to practice, it really helps.
Yeah.
What's your best angle?
Definitely.
What kind of movement can you do? Because, if you're always limited to e-com jobs, your movements are very limited, and your book is not going to grow. It's not going to get any better.
Yeah, you
And
can experiment. And
you can experiment. You can show off all those different looks you have.
Exactly. And actually, I mean, like tests, it is a test shoot. You test things out. It's fun. You create something that you, I think, wouldn't create if it's like a high stressy commercial job.
Very true. And then you are just limited
Yeah.
by whatever the client wants from you. So at what stage does such an editorial actually make sense? Does it make sense for like a modeler who just got signed?
I think for a model that just started, the bigger priority should be having good Polaroids, having some good headshots and some good starter images. Like that is your foundation. I think you can't start modeling and be like, the first thing I'm going to do is a Vogue. That is just unrealistic, doesn't work, and just also wouldn't come off credible.
Very
so
true.
I think if you're past the start beginner, then to build a good book, editorials are, for me, the best way.
But then you already spoke about the great team you need. You need good photographers, good makeup artists, good styling, and all of that. It's quite hard for a young model to see that.
Yeah.
It's like they scroll through Instagram, Facebook, or wherever they are, TikTok, just online, and they often choose the wrong photographers, I've realized.
It happens so often, and I think it comes down to, it takes time to really hone in on your eye and to know what makes a good picture. And I think the best advice is really to, if you're striving to be in a Vogue or an Elle or Harper's Bazaar or in a magazine that big, look at what these magazines publish. Like you do your homework. Like nowadays with Pinterest, you can type in Vogue editorial. You can there's easy ways to see what a good photo looks like. And I think that really is work that you have to do. I remember when I started modeling, I don't know, I want to say 20 years ago. No, but like 15 years ago, I remember I had a book, and I went to a photographer, and I thought I was quite it wasn't that bad. And I remember leaving there crying because he was just like, it's terrible.
Oh,
And I
God.
didn't see it. And that was because my eye was just completely unschooled. Like I had no idea. And he gave me a tip that where I then went home, started collecting images, making mood boards, just seeing what is good retouch, what is good light, how to use your angles. But that's homework I had to do myself.
Yes.
And so I think that's something everyone has to start with. So they even have, because otherwise with the vast majority of like magazines, there are also so many magazines out there that don't bring value to your book. And I think that's something that we should definitely talk about, that
Oh, God. Yeah.
editorial is not editorial and magazine
Yeah.
is not magazine.
It's very true. I mean, I've been in several juries, and I still remember one jury day. I had like 200, 300 models, and all my jury members, they weren't really trained. They were not from the industry. And there was a cute model come in, and she literally placed her book in front of us and like, okay, this is me. I opened the first page and was like, okay, she paid for that. I knew right away.
Yeah.
And all the others were like, oh my God, it's a cover. My God, you got published here and there. I'm not going to mention any names or magazines. And I just knew it's paid for. It's not even good. I know like the title was nice, but that's about it. And for me, she was out right at the point. I couldn't book her. And that's a very sad thing because, I mean, she invested money, time, an entire team worked on it. So how can you distinguish?
Yeah, so I think that is one of the biggest problems, especially when starting out, because you can't tell yet. And my that photographer that gave me that feedback on my first book, he said, always remember that your book is as strong as your weakest photo. And that really stuck with me because I also won't mention publication names that just don't make sense, but there are so many that whenever I see that in a portfolio that gets sent to me, or someone that wants to join our pool or work together, and I then see the typical names, it screams amateur. And that's the problem. Like the whole point of editorials for me is to invest time and probably also money into something that brings me further in my career. And so it needs to be of a certain level, and the magazine name, it just needs to have relevance. Like if people that are not, if a client might not be as into the industry as you are, he needs to recognize the name straight away and be like, oh, that's a big name that I know I can buy on newsstands. That will bring you quality, and that will bring you further. But just having any old name and it look like a magazine, I would rather, my advice would be use it as a personal story if the pictures are nice, and that will bring you further than putting on some magazine name that people within the industry then think, oh, I'm not sure I want to work with her because she's doing these amateur magazines.
It's actually going to ruin your career and maybe even what the agency tried to build.
Yeah.
Because there's usually like a career plan
definitely.
within it. Okay, well, so signed models and unsigned models who have reached a certain level, they can definitely count on us now because we have the eye. You have the eye, you have all the contacts, and you have an entire production, company. So how did that start? So when you were a model, how did it actually turn into...
How do I flip?
Yeah.
So when I started modeling, I loved the job, but quite soon did I already realize that like I loved the organization around it, and I also loved having good energy on set, or generally I knew a lot of people, and also through things like test shoots. And then a few clients asked me, hey, could you maybe help us with our campaign, or do you have a photographer you could recommend? And so production slowly, naturally came in. And when I then made the step and I was like, no, actually, I think I'm going to be good at this. I want to start my own company. I obviously didn't have a portfolio to show. And so I couldn't really go to a client and be like, hey, book me. I'm sure I'll do a great job, but have nothing to show you. So I was like, okay, well, how can I actually get a reputational book? And so I started doing test shoots, but having in mind an editorial. And so over around 10 years, I built my enormous contact list for all the international editors, and have been sending out editorials of my own, but also of others for that amount of time. So it's just built, I've built those relationships, and now that's really quite a big part of what I do, helping people also getting their work seen.
That sounds like a lot of work, like a very big network.
Yes.
And I think it's great that you found a way to share that now with everyone. Saying everyone, could anyone book our service now to be like, can I please get an editorial publication?
I have to say no, because it's not a I send everything everywhere kind of service. Although for me, it's more, I've built these relationships and they're based also on trust and what I actually feel is a level that I can send out, because I'm sending it out under my name. So I would say, yes, you can book an editorial placement with me or me sending it out, but I always do reserve the right to say, no, that doesn't fit the quality. There are ways of them being like, okay, let's go through your images again, see if there are stronger pictures to make the whole story stronger. But there will be cases where I'm just like, it just isn't gonna work. And there, but I think that's also part of honing your eye. And so I also say, like, I've had clients or photographers or models in the past where I will, after a shoot, not just get their finished edit images, but instead I'll go through all of them with them, explain why this is a good photo, and kind of give that guidance so that you can actually train your eye.
Yeah, that's a very important and good point. In general, the question, can everyone be a model? That's a very big question that's out there at the moment. Well, it's been out there for a while. When we host our big workshops, which we only have twice a year, in like models that are interested, or newbies who want to become models that are interested in it, they have to apply for it, because to all our other workshops or webinars and seminars, everyone can come and join. But yeah, for the big workshops, it's very limited spots and space, and I decide with the team who is going to get a spot. So what do you think? Can everyone be a model?
I would say no. I think that it's great that our industry now has all sizes and all ages, but I think it's not just looking pretty on a photo. It's you also have to know what the job entails, and maybe someone will look great on the photo, but actually not be able to or not have what it takes to be reliable, to be there on time. Those are also factors that the model has to have, or be professional, or take time to invest into their career. So I think, no, I don't think that everyone can be. So I think it's very good that you have a pre-selection.
It looks so easy from the outside to be a model. It just looks so simple. Oh, you just get makeup done and hair, and then you look pretty, and then you just smile and it's done.
Yeah.
No, it's not. I think modeling is one of the hardest jobs out there.
Yeah.
And I'm not being judgmental, like, compared to other jobs. I mean, every job has its challenges, but being a model is definitely underestimated.
I agree. I always say that my 10 years of being a full-time model were like therapy. I used to be like super insecure, very just a bit scared of also being in front of the camera. And so it was like therapy, because you kind of have to deal with feedback that you might not want to hear. You have to deal with rejection.
Oh, yeah.
It makes you stronger, but it is definitely a job that isn't so light and easy
Yeah.
as one might think.
And hopefully it makes you stronger, because I've met a lot of models in the last 30 years that
Yeah.
actually got weaker through that business. And that's probably a reason why we're here today with
Yeah.
so many lovely coaches to give some guidance. Right, so let's go back to the editorial topic. Where should the actual planning of an editorial should begin?
Where it should begin?
Mm-hmm.
It really has to begin before even coming up with a mood board. Like, you have to have your, like, what is your goal? What are you trying to achieve? I think the only point in investing into editorials is if you have a clear goal of what this is meant to achieve for you. So I think if you're planning to hit or to submit to a Vogue, the style should be completely different than, for example, a Cosmopolitan.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think you have to know where image-wise it should go. Does the team that you're trying to produce this with, are they able to produce that look?
Mm-hmm.
Like, someone that's really great at commercial work might not be great at high fashion work.
Absolutely.
I think as a model, you also have to realize what are your strengths. If you're an amazing commercial model, I always think everyone wants to be high fashion, but in high fashion, unless you're the top of the top, it's hard to earn money. So being an amazing commercial model can be much more profitable. But in that case, I would, for example, lean more to planning an editorial that might be a beauty shoot or something where a beauty brand then sees it and it's like, oh, she has a beautiful face. I could use her for my campaign, although she might not be the body fit for a high fashion Vogue editorial. So I think it really, you have to decide, where do you want to go? What is the gap you're trying to fill? And how do I use this editorial as part of the process to get where I want to go?
And then talking about quality and proper value, it's not just the team, it's also the products I'm using, right? So I wouldn't necessarily shoot an editorial campaign in cheap clothes.
Yes,
Yeah.
for sure. Like, I think there are some key things that people need to remember when producing an editorial. Like, I say, for a fashion shoot, it should be at least 7 to 8 to 9 looks. That's important for a fashion shoot. I sometimes get sent editorials, they've done 3 looks, and that's just not enough for a fashion shoot. If it's beauty, it should be around 5 to 6 looks minimum to have a nice spread. And then there are other things like timing. It's a huge issue. Like, I get sent editorials maybe in, for example, June or July of a summer beachwear editorial. And you might think, oh, yeah, well, I mean, that's great because we're now in summer and I can send it out and then it will come out in August. But that's not how it works, because all magazines, they already are a few months ahead. So if you're sending up something in July, they're probably in October issue-wise.
Oh, God.
And so then the editorial could be beautiful. You've done everything correctly, but it won't be able to be placed because you're too late in the season. So there are some rules that make sense to have in mind every time you are planning something.
Absolutely. I remember the times, 30, 40 degrees, Spain, and I was wearing winter coats and hats and scarves and gloves and everything. And I'm like, I'm melting.
Yeah.
But why? Because they are producing it for the next season.
Exactly.
Or the season after.
Yeah.
So in 2026, you might produce something for 27. Also, I think as a model, it's very important that you know trends, that you are aware what's going on out there. What is the industry I want to work in actually looking for?
Yeah.
A lot of models have just no clue.
Yeah, I think you have to be a bit aware of what's happening. Like, I had someone send me an editorial placement, which was just with a lot, like, they were cool outfits, but it was a lot of fur. And for example, fur is hardly ever placeable, just because Vogue won't want to show real fur. So there are some rules that I think, and also if you're doing a beauty story, check what was on the last runways for the coming season. Think of how can you actually add value to the editor so that it brings value to them as well.
So that was already a big mistake you just spoke about. So you invest a lot of money into a fur production, and then no one wants to publish it.
Yeah,
because you kind of missed maybe the point of you're not doing this anymore.
Exactly.
Do you have other mistakes in mind?
Well, I think timing really is one of the biggest ones. Just being too late in the season. I think, like you said, premium. You want to be in a premium magazine, so your styling needs to be premium. They, of course, also have advertisers, and if they then have H&M or Zara or something in the credits, it's not going to get published. So it needs to be of a high level, because otherwise the pictures could be beautiful. And of course, I mean, Zara's online store, you can see you can definitely make pretty or like produce pretty pictures using their clothes, but when it comes down to the credits, it just has to be premium.
No, I totally understand. Everything is a premium. The makeup artists, you shouldn't book a newbie for that. You shouldn't book an average photographer from your village because your mum knows him.
Exactly.
You can do that for other things, like for test shoots and to practice and, I don't know, maybe to apply for an agency. Good digitals, as you said before. But if it comes down to an editorial in a top magazine, you have to perform top.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think also another mistake is something like retouching. I often see images where I'm just like, there is no texture in the skin anymore. There is, it's just completely old school retouching. And there comes back to the honing your eye, seeing what is good light. Before you do a shoot, does the photographer understand good light? What's his retouching like? Does the stylist have the connections to those brands, credits, or to the brands? I would always say, if you, for example, having troubles finding a stylist, but you would be open to doing a beauty shoot, then I'd rather do a beauty shoot first, because there only the makeup credits are important, and you don't need to bring Dior, Chanel, any kind of brands. So go the route that will give you the best
result and
result.
outcome.
Yes.
Yeah. No, true. So how long does such a process normally take? So if someone is really interested now, let's say a model or maybe even a hair and makeup artist, I mean, we are open for anyone of the industry, right? Approach us and are like, oh, I really want to have this publication. Like, this podcast really got me. Let's get started.
Yeah.
How long does it take? I
think it depends on what step you are. As in, if you have a team ready to go that would like to produce something with you, then I think it would be useful to sit together to decide, to reiterate the concept, see if it's something that should be sent out as a concept before, to hopefully already get a pull letter, or if you produce it and then one sends it out. But that would be, I guess, the production is however long they need. For us, if we set a team, then of course we could do that within a week or within a month. And then the actual process of sending it out, that is so it's really chance and luck. Like I can never say, look, you've given me the editorial and then I will send it out and next week we'll know where it will be placed. That sometimes it happens like that, and I send it out and 2 days later I know which magazine is interested. But sometimes it takes many rounds. Like it's just also a bit of matter of games. It's luck. Does it fit into the themes that the magazine is currently about to show? So it can also take up to 2 months. And then it also doesn't mean that it will come out the next day. It can be that the magazine will answer tomorrow and say, we're interested in running it in the October issue. So then you have to wait till October.
But in general, I think a model's career hardly ever picks up like this from day one. What what I've noticed, most models need about 2 years to get built by their agent, or if they want to do it themselves, by themselves. And usually they waste quite a lot of money and time if they do it themselves.
Yeah.
So it's quite good to have a very good agency, or us in that case, to give you this speed to go up.
Yeah.
But yeah, it doesn't happen overnight. It's usually 2 years. And what I've noticed with our workshop models, they save 1 year at least, 1 to 1.5 years, because we give them the entire team. It's ready. And I mean, we work with international photographers. Every coach in our team is at least for 10 years in the industry. So I don't have to explain anything because they know themselves and they bring their own network. And this amazing synergy just makes it possible to find your own spot within the industry.
Yeah.
Because you get easily distracted with social media, and it's challenging. You think there's a lot of information out there.
Yeah.
But
There's
actually,
also a lot of wrong information out there.
there's a lot of wrong information
true.
out there. So all that sounds very encouraging now. So if I would listen to us, I'd be like, okay, I'm so going to book them for shooting an editorial because I really want to get published in a great magazine. So what we offer, what most people need weeks or months to research, is full service, right? So what can people get from us?
So, I mean, I think I always say there are more ways to reach your goal. But if you want I just want to be helped and handheld, we offer the full production, finding a creative team, and also producing the editorial from concept to finish, and then sending it to magazines, or also having a magazine prior to the shoot, so you already know what you're producing for.
Would you have magazines that sometimes reach out to you being like, oh, listen, we would be interested in this and this kind of story. So if anything comes across, let us know?
Definitely. So I sometimes have editors reaching out saying, I need a beauty story. Do you have something for the next issue? But that's mostly always very it's going to print next week. Do you have something? So probably very short time notice for a team. But of course, I think my list of 1,000 editors, I also reach out with a concept and then see if that fits into the next theme. Or, like I said, we finish something that could be an evergreen content for any magazine in that range, and then send it out afterwards.
And the good thing is you can produce these editorials in any time of the year, right? Like if it's winter, autumn, spring, flowers, summer, hot, pool, snow, it just really doesn't matter, right?
No, it doesn't matter. I think it's just important to, when you're producing, realize what is the likely issue it would come out in. And then so that if we're producing in summer, then it probably has to be a winter editorial, to keep that in mind when you're planning.
That's true, because if you produce summer in summer, it might already be outdated next year. Oh, then you've done all the work.
Definitely. So I'd always think 3-4 months ahead. So now, for example, I would only do a winter editorial, although it's finally summer here now.
That sounds lovely. So if our listeners have to remember only one thing from this episode, what should it be?
Okay, so I think they should remember, don't chase a publication just to have a publication. Make sure that the quality is of that standard that you are proud of, that you want people to see, and that it just can't scream amateur. Otherwise, the whole work is you've done work and it made no sense. Yeah, that would be my one thing, I guess, and just use editorial to strengthen your book and not accidentally have it damage your book.
That are very strong words, and I hope you've all listened very well and very carefully, because it's not usually quantity, it's always quality. Jesus Christ. It's always quality over quantity in your book. With the team, choose carefully who you want to work with, choose carefully what you invest your time in, and your money, of course, and make sure you always stay with yourself. Don't get lost in this crazy industry.
And hone your eye.
Oh, yeah, hone your eye. Just really be out there, be aware, do some research that you can actually talk to the people within the industry, that they don't think oh, okay, you need a couple of years, don't you?
Yeah, do your homework.
Do your homework.
I think that's always, especially you want to work with better people, then you yourself have to make sure that you are valuable for them too.
That's true, because it's not just the model choosing the photographers and
No.
makeup artists and stylists.
It's mostly the other way around. Like, you need to be interesting for the team. And if you want to work with good people, then you too need to do your homework.
Yeah, and then the outcome is just going to be amazing.
Yeah.
And that's what we're here for. Thank you so much, Tiffany. I think that was
Thank
an
you.
amazing episode. And
Thank you for having me.
you are welcome. And I'm very proud she's going to be on our website after this publication of this lovely podcast. And we are looking forward to do some great editorials with you guys out there. But also, we are able to review finished editorials already, right?
Yes.
Like, they can get sent to us and then we check and maybe can
Help with the placement, for
help
sure.
with the placement, make some dreams come true.
I hope so.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Ta-da. Ta-da. Yay.